Welcome back to my free-to-play review series, where I check out games on console that you can pick up right now for zero charge. If you're enjoying the content, consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. The first Descendant was released in July of 2024 for the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X and S, the PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 5. Developed and published by the South Korean company Nexon, you may be familiar with their other free-to-play title, The Finals, which I have also reviewed on this channel, whose development studio is a subsidiary of Nexon. So, how is the first Descendant as a free-to-play game? As a new player, is it worth your time? This review is going to answer that question.
We must fight back. With the ancestors' power bestowed upon us. Descendant, can you hear me? I've been waiting for you.
Right out of the gate, the first Descendant is going to feel familiar to anyone who is a fan of Warframe. The weapons, the movement, the enemy design, and high-speed action. It's like the first Descendant copied Warframe's homework and changed a few things around before submitting it to their teacher on Monday morning. However, there is one massive difference between this game and Warframe. Let me give you a moment to see if you can spot it in this gameplay footage I'm showing. Just take a second, it can be incredibly hard to find. Do you see it? That's right. One of the major differences between the first Descendant and Warframe is the absolute insane levels of fan service, to the point where I'm going to cover it in its very own section before we highlight anything else in the game. Look at these character models. They come in two types. Fully armored, gruff and grizzled men decked out for war. They're missing eyes or limbs, have scarred faces, and look like they've been through the ringer. The other type are supermodels wearing bikinis, tight spandex, or armor with the chest open. I want you to guess which character type you see the most in this game. Obviously, I completely understand why. They want to cater to young men. To open your wallet up to buy the premium or hottest character, give them a bikini and rabbit ears, and send them off to war. I get it, it's not hard to understand. Just, you have to be aware that if you're playing this game, this is what you're going to be seeing for a lot of it. And that may make for some awkward conversations when you're in the hub area and somebody walks into the room and sees what's on your TV. But if you are into this kind of thing, the first Descendant has your back. There are a lot of different characters to choose from, and they all have a bunch of different outfits you can purchase or unlock to make them look exactly how you want. With the fan service part out of the way, let's talk about what the first Descendant is from a gameplay perspective. Like I said, it's very similar to games like Warframe and Destiny. Third-person looter-shooter where you have different characters called Descendants that you fight with. Each has their own abilities and skills which are tied to that character. For example, the character I played mostly with is Ajax. He's tankier than others and can create shields to block weapons fire. Bunny is a speedster that can zip around the battlefield and creates electricity that damages enemies. There are a lot of these characters and each can go to a maximum level of 40, meaning a goal of the game is leveling them all up. Aside from the Descendants, which can be purchased for either real money or unlocked by collecting parts during missions, there is the loot. And like a Diablo game, the first Descendant is very generous with its loot. There are guns galore, each with different stats and levels, but they aren't as diverse as, say, a Borderlands game. You generally have the same type, which carry the same name, but there are different levels. Let me give you an example. You might get an assault rifle called Phantom Pain or something like that. You might get the same rifle a bunch of times during your playthrough, but each time it has different stats, roles, and levels. Then when you outgrow it, you break it down for parts and move on to the next before picking it up again later down the line. Only this time, it's grown in level with you. Similar to Borderlands, you're going to be switching out these guns a lot during the main storyline. They're pretty disposable until you get to the endgame where you're going to be looking for specific weapons with certain roles for certain Descendants. You can have 3 weapons equipped at a time, and rather than having ammo for each gun, you have a certain amount of ammo for that type. So guns can use regular ammo or high impact ammo, etc. These are distinguished by the color of the weapon in your inventory. If both a assault rifle and a submachine gun use regular ammo, that means they both share from the same pool of ammunition. You should go into combat with a gun of each ammo type, because you can, and probably will, run out of ammo for one. Guns can have mods installed, and you pick these up in the map or through mission rewards, just like you would any other material or weapon. They affect a variety of things in your gun, including magazine size, damage, that sort of thing. Your Descendant itself has mods you can install as well. Your reactor affects your abilities, and they can be installed in your Descendant just like your weapons. You then have your shields, health, etc., all accessed from the same inventory screen. It's pretty standard stuff, and it won't take you long to figure it out.
This is a space where your unconscious takes physical form. I have been waiting for you since the beginning. I am your guide.
So what kind of things will you be doing with your supermodel hot, lightly clad Descendant and array of weapons? The best comparison I have is the first Descendant is a mix of open world missions from Destiny and Warframe combined with 4-player strikes. The game pretty much goes like this. You start in the hub world where you have a load of vendors available to you. Whether you want to buy new weapons, upgrade your existing items, research new weapons or abilities, descendants, etc. Or maybe you bought a new outfit and you want to show it off. The hub world is where you do all that stuff. From there, you go to a new area, a grassy plains, a ruined city, a swamp, a desert, that kind of thing. The locations open up as you complete the main storyline. The environments change, but the process is always the same. Go to a new area and complete a series of open world missions alone or with other players. These include defending an area, hacking a terminal, collecting orbs or enemy item drops. You do a few of these missions in the open world, then you have a team mission where you fight a mini-boss as a group in a strike mission. You rinse and repeat. Each area of the map is broken down into multiple sections, where you do a few missions, you talk to an NPC, you do a strike, you move on to the next section. Complete those sections, and you finally get to the boss or the final mission of an area of the map. You do the strike there, you kill the big boss, you watch a story cutscene, you move on to the next area of the map. That's pretty much it. Each area is broken into segments, the entire world is broken into areas, and the story is broken into sections defined by the map area. It never varies from it. Once you complete the first section of a map, you've basically seen everything the first Descendant has to offer. If you like it, that's great. But if you don't enjoy it, if you find it repetitive and boring, it doesn't change.
This way, Descendant. It seems HQ is faltering. I understand. After all, HQ shoulders the burden of protecting humanity. It is difficult for the fate of humanity to be placed into the hands of something only a few can see. But Descendant, my purpose is the same as yours. Trust me. Do this, and you will retrieve the Iron Heart.
The story of the first Descendant is heavy on lore to a degree and very light on story. It's basically an excuse to get people into armor, picking up a weapon, and sending them out to shoot evil aliens. Basically, this world is being invaded by another dimension in search of MacGuffins called Iron Hearts. The humans of this planet are on the verge of extinction before an alien called a Magister gives them superpowers. Everyone gets a different ability and sent out to fight. At the start of the game, humanity is on the losing side, just not as badly as before, and the Descendant you control is part of a mission that finds the first of 3 Iron Hearts. Of course, as soon as you do so, it gets taken away. Through the main storyline, you find a guide, an AI construct that is tasked with helping you find the Iron Hearts. That's pretty much it. There is a lot of lore hidden in records and text messages you can find and read, but the story itself is very simple. Go to an area, listen to some NPC dialogue, shoot a bunch of stuff, cutscene, repeat. If you thought the first section of Warframe was light on story, or Destiny 1 poorly explained what was happening, you'll be right at home with the first Descendant. Nothing is explained very well unless you hunt these lore bits, and even then, it's difficult to piece the story together. I think part of the problem is everything has been translated from Korean, and not well, I might add. The subtitles don't match what the characters are saying, and I think a lot of the text in game was run through an AI translate or something like that. This, combined with the fact that they use a lot of different names and terms without providing a lot of context for those names and terms, meant I was a loss for a lot of this game. Like, for example, your magical abilities are called Arc, given to you by a Magister, making you the first descendant of these beings to have Arc. I think it's pretty unclear. If you are interested in the story at all, you can Google it or go on Reddit, but the explanation is pretty short, and even after reading it twice, I was still lost. Look, don't play the first Descendant for its story. It's not that kind of game. You're here to shoot things while listening to a podcast and staring at animated ladies in revealing outfits. That's what the developers were aiming for, and that's exactly what you get.
The arcade from the guide felt familiar. That makes me think she's on our side. Oh! What if Alpha can't link to the guide because of RK? He doesn't use his RK abilities much these days. Who knows? Let's focus on the operation for now.
Graphically, the first Descendant looks and runs pretty good. The environments can be really detailed, the character models are good, but everyone has zero facial expressions, and all the characters have this glossy, plasticky look to them that reminds me of action figures or something like that. There were a lot of bugs with characters and enemies floating in the air or appearing in the middle of empty space. Thankfully, it didn't happen a lot, and I think some of it can be put down to network shenanigans. The voice acting is pretty good, but the writing needs a lot of work. It's pretty stiff, and a large part of it is due to translation issues. Think of a dubbed anime, and you'll be right on the mark. Oh, and the mouths don't match the English. Again, not a deal breaker, but it's funny to see a character's mouth stop moving and the voice is still going on. It's like those bad dubs from old martial arts movies.
I can't even remember what my parents looked like. When I think about my childhood, I only remember being with my grandmother.
All right, let's get into the microtransactions. They are very similar to Warframe, actually. You can speed up your research with real money, buy weapons, items, new outfits, and characters. Everything can be gotten for free if you have the time, but just like other free-to-play looter shooters, you can spend real money to reduce the time requirements. But what separates the first Descendant from its competitors like Warframe is that the cost of things in this game are through the roof. If you want to spend your time grinding things out instead of giving up your hard-earned cash, prepare to sink some serious time to get those things. Some of the more common Descendants can be anywhere from $5 to $30 US to grab. The ultimate versions can run you a lot more. Outfits can run you about the same. You want a bikini for your Descendant? $15 or more. I've heard it said that everything that Warframe does, the first Descendant does as well, just to the extreme. The grind is longer and harder. The costs for materials, characters, and outfits are much higher. And before you say it's a free-to-play game and you don't need to spend a dime, that isn't entirely true. Sure, you can get pretty far into the first Descendant without paying any money, but there is a wall. There's always a wall where free-to-play meets pay-to-win. I've seen the most expensive Descendants in action, and some of them are pretty busted. The free starter Descendants can't hold a candle to them. There was this one part of the game where one character was completely fighting all the enemies in a 4-player squad alone. They were the same level as us, but they had one of the more broken Descendants, and they were standing in one place, destroying everything in sight with their abilities. So no, this isn't a game designed with hot female characters that makes you want to dish out $20 or $30 to see them in a bikini or other cosmetics. This is also a dish out $50 or more and crush everything in sight. If you don't want to spend any money, you can easily get 30, 40, or even 50 hours of good content as a free-to-play player. But just be aware that the wall of grind or cash is out there on the horizon, and you're going to hit it at some point.
Welcome, Descendant. Please, do not be alarmed. My appearance has been configured to facilitate communication. I am linked to the Arcade of Descendants. I can appear wherever you may be. But I am incomplete. At present, only you, Descendant, can see or hear me.
Okay, so let's go into the pros and cons of the first Descendant. For the pros, the game looks great. The characters and environments are detailed, the cutscenes have some incredible moments. The lore is interesting, and I wanted to learn more about this world and the people in it. The game has a good gameplay loop of shoot, kill, pick up items, repeat. It's well optimized on console. I personally played it on the Xbox Series X, never had any issues. Same thing for PlayStation 5. If you're interested in anime game girls, the first Descendant is the game for you. A lot of people are online playing, so you won't have any issues with finding others to play with. Now for the cons, the story is disjointed and poorly told. There is a lot of interesting lore buried there somewhere, but I doubt you're going to come out of this one understanding exactly what's going on. The microtransactions are out of control and the grind is real. All the anime bikini girls in the hub world can make for some awkward real world moments depending on who is in the room with you. Gameplay can quickly become repetitive with you doing the same missions over and over again, just in new environments. There are some weapons and Descendants that are better than others. It makes balancing an issue. There are these strange difficulty highs and lows. Sometimes you're going to be mowing people down with no problems, then you die in a couple of hits. All right, that's it for another review. Let me know down in the comments if you're going to check out the first Descendant, or if you've already played it, what did you think about it? Did you buy a $30 bikini for your favorite character? I'm the Casual Console Gamer, and I'll see you all in the next review.